Hi everyone, good evening. It's Nigerian XJW Speaks here. Hope you're having a good week. It's Wednesday again. I am trying to put something out on Wednesdays. I won't make any promises, but that is the plan. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I have come on here to talk about the next thing on my mind. I realized that when I started this, the idea was to add my voice to the community of people speaking out because I had a lot of support and found it very helpful. Some of the YouTube channels that were out here at the start during my waking up process, they were very, very helpful towards that, and that's what I wanted to contribute to. However, as I'm doing them, I am finding that it is part of my healing as well. Getting all the support, being able to talk about it, and you guys have been absolutely amazing. I appreciate all the support, all the people subscribing, commenting, sharing as well. Continue to do that. It's all very, very helpful. And the more interaction, the more people see stuff, the more people hear that it's okay to feel the way that they feel, what has happened to them, that is being raised in this religion, and the experiences they might have had. It's not normal. They should not have gone through that. We're not going to start getting upset already. Oh my goodness. So this is what I mean. I'm still in the healing process myself. So the point being, thank you so much. So what I wanted to talk about today, it's I already had it in the back of my mind, and then I saw something this week that I'm going to share later, but really emphasize that, okay, I need to talk about this. It is the process of shunning. I've taken some notes today, so I make sure I cover everything before I finish, because if it's not obvious already, I don't edit videos. I just sort of talk and go for it. If I try and factor in editing, there's just not enough time in the day right now in my schedule to be editing and putting them out. I'll just not do any at all. So I don't edit. So I want to make sure I cover everything. I'm talking about shunning disfellowshipping today. If you were never in the witness faith, you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to tell you what I mean. Shunning disfellowshipping, this is a practice within the Jehovah's Witness religion where when you're deemed no longer fit to be part of the party, part of the organization, part of the congregation, an announcement is made publicly from the platform to tell everybody that you've been disfellowshipped. And from that moment on, literally from that minute on, people that have been your friends for years and years, people you may have grown up with, people that you meet with 2-3 more times a week, that are your best friends, that you're meant to have intense love for one another, which is the witness term that they love to use. Well, guess what? Those people get to cut you off straight away. The love disappears. You're dead to them. They can't speak to you. Within your own family, your mother, your father, your children, your grandchildren, they get to pretend you're dead as well. They get to shut you off. They get to cut you off completely. Now, someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have personal experience with this particular one I want to talk about. So the relationship between a married couple. When I left, I wasn't married, so I don't know how that works. But I seem to get a feeling that they have a little bit more respect for that relationship. They don't insert themselves too much. They're not insisting as much that you should completely cut them off. But every other relationship is fair game. Nothing is sacred to them. They go in, insert themselves, and insist that you get cut off. So that is disfellowshipping. A bit of background and the hypocrisy, and some of the thoughts that I have with that, and I'm going to share some suggestions as well for help at the end. If you're someone that's going through this right now, just some tips and some suggestions I will share at the end. So a bit of background, and this is a literature I was trying to find before I came on here. Back in the 50s, when they were doing one of their favorite pastimes, which is bashing the Catholic Church. I don't know why. They seem to really have it in for them. I remember growing up, we had a neighbor who was Catholic. And my dad, oh my goodness, every opportunity he got, he would, a snide remark there about how there's butting heads. And it's not just him. Looking through their website, typing in Catholic Church, the amount of material that you come on. I don't know what they have against them, but they seem to have a go at them quite a lot. And so they're having a go at them for their practice of excommunication, which is basically the same thing, saying how it wasn't scriptural and, bad. Well, what do you know? A few decades later, they have their own, which is called disfellowshipping, practically the same thing. But guess what? It's a loving arrangement. That's what they call it. And they go to great lengths to explain to you why it is loving for your friends and your family to just pretend you're dead and shut you off. Now, if you have not had anything to do with the witnesses, lucky you. You might be wondering, what do you have to do to have your friends and family cut you off? Surely it's something really horrific, something really horrible. And you would be correct, but only partially. Horrible, something like killing someone, yes, possibly. But you could also get disfellowshipped for something like you were caught smoking a cigarette. You realize that you don't believe them to be the truth anymore and you don't want to be part of it anymore. You fall in love with someone who is not in the religion. Those are all grounds for your family to pretend you're dead to them. Especially going back to deciding or realizing that you don't believe anymore. If you think about the fact that most witnesses are people who, like myself, are born into it. From the moment you're this big, that's all you've known. Before you're old enough to really think about things and question things, you're encouraged, you're pushed to get baptized, which you get baptized as a child before you're old enough to think about it. And apparently that commitment is supposed to be binding for the rest of your life. And when you become an adult and you realize you don't believe it, well, guess what? Your family gets to cut you off. That's what we're dealing with here. That's the sort of control we're dealing with. And the really annoying, sickening thing about it all is that they openly admit that one of the benefits that comes from this, why they do this, is that you will, i.e. the disfellowship person, miss their family so much that they would come back, not because they believe, not because they agree with them, but because that's where their family's at, that's where their friends are. And so they have to come back. And for someone who's been raised as a witness, this is a particularly effective form of abuse, punishment, because you are raised isolated. If you've been raised anything like me, and I think most of us who grew up as witnesses would have heard this countless times. You are no part of this world. Anybody who's not a witness is a worldly person, is bad association. And so I remember my mom saying over and over again to me growing up, it's like sounds of my childhood, what do you have in common with people who are not witnesses? Nothing really. So the only sort of interaction that you should be having are ones that you absolutely have to. So for example, if you work colleagues and you have to work together in communication for work, if you are in school together and you have to interact as part of school, or if you're preaching to them, you're trying to convert them, that's the sort of communication you should be having. They're not meant to be your friends. They are bad association. So for friendship, you're looking inward. It's all within the congregation, people who are witnesses. So those are the people that are the closest to you, that are your friends. And so when that's cut off, and you're thrust out into this world that you've been made to believe is scary, is full of dangerous, bad people. It's such a shock, and you're not equipped to function properly in real life, and it's such a shock that unfortunately most of the time it does work. People do go back because they don't know how to live outside of the witness faith. Let me just check my notes, make sure that I'm covering everything. Okay, yep, got that. So like they know it's a fear tactic, and they're open about that, and that's just absolutely, if that's not abuse, I don't know what is. Just in general as well, humans, we are social creatures. Like, we're not meant to be in isolation, which I think is why, like in prison, for prisoners that they're really looking to, make suffer, they put them in solitary confinement, where they're spending most of the day in a room staring at four walls. Absolutely drives you mad. That's the sort of isolation. Yes, it might not be in four walls, but your world is quite small when you've grown up a witness, and then when you're chucked out, it's like, it's absolutely awful. Now, I said there was something I saw recently in the last week that basically meant that I really wanted to talk about this. It's a video I saw here on YouTube, a channel called My Hato, if I'm saying that right. This is a lady who she'd grown up a witness. I don't think she ever did get baptized, which is, just another layer of control, basically. She happens to be gay, which, seeing as she wasn't baptized, I can only assume that that's why her father has told her for her upcoming wedding that he's not going to be there. He is not coming to her wedding. And it was really upsetting for me to see this grown lady. I felt like she was reassuring herself on the video. You're saying, I haven't done anything wrong. And that really hit a nerve, because this is something that I am experiencing myself, the loss of relationship. Having to find a way to convince yourself that you have worth, you have value, even though the people that are supposed to love you unconditionally and put you first, when they can choose a religion over you, when they can put a distance between you and them, and you have to work hard and try and find a way to make yourself believe that regardless of that, you have worth. You are not fundamentally flawed or wrong. You have worth innately. Hold on, my notes has gone off. I felt like that's what she was trying to do, and that's what this does to you. That is what this does to you. So on that note, I'm going to get on to some suggestions if you are someone who is currently either just been disfellowshipped, who have family shunning you. Some of this I'm talking to myself as well, because I am still in the process. First of all, the first thing is there are amazing people out there. The world is not all scary. Not everyone is bad. There are fantastic people. I have met them. And, if you are on here, you've experienced this as well, put comments in. So when they're reading it, they know that, no, the world is not just a scary place. Yes, there's some bad people. And yes, you have to be careful. You have to, know who you're surrounding yourself with. But there are good people, and you can find them. Take your time to find them, people who will just love you for who you are, without any expectation, without needing you to believe exactly as they believe. They just love you. And it might take you some time to accept that, to believe that, even after many years. But they're there, and you'll find them. The second thing I want you to know as well is that it is possible to build a life after leaving the religion. It doesn't have to be the end of your life. Get therapy if you have to. And just hearing a professional who is trained, giving you another perspective, helping you make sense of what that was. What the hell was that? What the hell was, if you're in my case, the majority of your life, what on earth was that, and how do you unpack that? You might just need someone who is trained to sort through that and figure it out. There'll be a lot of tears. Look at me. There'll be a lot of tears. It might take a lot of time, but they can help. They can help you just sort through it and realize that there is life after this, because you don't want to waste any more time. You want to go live it. You want to heal and go live your life, and don't spend any more time pining, staying in your head and believing what you've been told growing up. The last thing I want to say is that you should have hope. And when I say hope, I don't mean the sort of hope that you put your life on hold while you're living your life, hoping that one day your family might wake up too, because I have heard it happen. It's not very often, but it does happen. Some parents, children, whatever, they eventually see the light as well and leave, especially if you have a family member who is brave enough, kind enough to not cut you off completely, who leaves a little bit open. Grab it, take it. If they ask questions, sow seeds in there to have them thinking and questioning, because that's the first step. If someone is brave enough to actually peek behind the curtains, do a bit of research, ask some questions, they might just be on the path to actually getting out. So have hope. The video that keeps coming to mind, I'm going off course now, is one of the conventions they had recently. I think it was the Love Never Fails convention, where they had a video they were showing to, witnesses all around the world. A child, a young adult really, but they had been disfellowshipped, and they're out there like we've talked about, and they're missing their mom, and they're ringing their mom, and apparently, according to this dramatization of how they're supposed to react, the parent just ignores the call, doesn't speak to them. Apparently that's how they're meant to behave. What if something was happening to them? What if there was genuinely something going wrong? So that's what we're dealing with. You have to find a way somehow to believe there are good people out there, to take a chance on life, to believe that it is possible to build a life after leaving, and to go out there and grab it while keeping hope. That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you again for all of the support. I would love to hear what you think as well. Any other bits of encouragement that you can share, because I know that some of you on here, you've been through it, you're further along in the healing process than I am. Love to hear your thoughts and your insight as well, just and for other people as well, to see that it is possible to have a life afterwards, and the amazing things that you're now up to now that you are free to think and not be intensely controlled. So have a good rest of the week, everyone, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.